Hello, everyone, and happy summer. I can't believe it's already almost June. My name is Ashley. I'm with Court Reserve. We are so excited about this webinar. Mark, I am so excited because our relationship with Swish just keeps getting better and better and better. Welcome, Mark from Swish and Oswin from CR on our webinar today. Mark and Oswin, thanks for joining us. I'm going to go over a few announcements while we have a couple more people jumping in the room. And just really, again, excited for the Swish webinar today. One of the important things that we try and do at Court Reserve is support our clients well. And so we have extended our live chat support hours. We are now live chat support 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That gives our West Coast support and our clubs on the West Coast even greater chance to live chat with our team, as well as weekends live chat support Saturdays and Sundays now from 9 to 5. I'm really glad that we're able to do that. We've hired some incredible folks at Court Reserve over the last 6 months just to do West Coast and weekend hours. So super great news from that end. And then I know, Mark, your team is going to be at Mastermind as well as the Court Reserve team, Club Pickleball. If you are a pickleball club, I highly recommend coming out to Mastermind. We're going to be there. You guys are going to be there. And it's really just an amazing event to learn so much about the pickleball industry, how to run your club, how to set your clubs up, what's the best practices. And then month after month, Devin and his team, they do Zoom calls, and our team gets so much out of that just from an Old Coast pickleball standpoint. So that is a great organization and a great time to be together in Utah. But I'm really actually even more excited that we are announcing today our 2 new Catalyst tour stops. So Court Reserve Catalyst is our user conference. Our next 2 stops are going to be in September, out on the West Coast and then out on the East Coast. So you can actually go to courtreserve.com and look up the Catalyst Tour. I'll put that link in our chat box today so that if your team is interested in supercharging your Court Reserve platform, doing more with Court Reserve, because let's be clear, how many of us have an iPhone? I have an iPhone and I probably use 20% of it since I bought it and set it up. So come to Catalyst. It's one day. It'll be well worth it. So, hi, Mark.
Hello, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so
Yeah.
much to the entire Court Reserve team as well. This has been long in the waiting, and it's just fun to kind of look back and see the whole timeline of just friendship and API partners and everything. And so this is an exciting moment for the Swish team. So we appreciate you guys hosting this.
Absolutely. Well, we've been working on this for quite some time. We always tell people it's coming and now it's here. And so, Mark, there's probably some folks, not just pickleball, but tennis and all of our other clubs that may not even know what Swish is. So give us a little info.
Absolutely. So Swish is software for running your club programming. And that encompasses the entire spectrum of programming, whether it's a large, 500 person tournament or just a small 50, 100 person tournament. So tournaments, leagues as well. Leagues are really becoming one of the most popular and important parts of running a good club. So ladders and partner leagues, individual leagues, and then even just small programming events like a round robin, 8-person DUPR mixer. Come get a DUPR rating on the pickleball side. In paddle, they call those Americanos, right? King of the court. So the entire spectrum of club programming, from small, just infrequent round robins, king of the court, to ongoing multi-week leagues, to tournaments, and everything in between. So that's what Swish does. And to be even a little bit more specific, we're talking about the scoring, the court assignments, the leaderboards, the stats, everything that might encompass that. So if you were to go and join a 20-person ladder league at a club, be it for tennis, pickleball, paddle, whatever the sport, you could take 20 names. Actually, you don't have to do this. The API, I won't spoil it, but the API will do all this for you. And Swish will put 20 names into different court assignments of the ladder. You record your scores in Swish. It gives you the leaderboard. If it's a ladder, it shuffles people up and down depending on whether you win or lose. And that's true whether this is a tournament bracket, ladder league, or anything in between.
Well, I know at Old Coast Pickleball, we did the old Swish way before the Court Reserve integration, where you would have to put all the names and all the DUPR numbers and all that great jazz in there. And now what we have done is made time-saving efforts for the club and the administrators and the instructors, because now everything can flow through Court Reserve and they can basically hit a button. And so I know, Oswin, if you want to go ahead and start pulling up your screen,
Yeah,
Oswin's
absolutely.
actually going to kind of take us through what it looks like in Court Reserve. And then this, of course, is going to be recorded. We're going to throw this up on the Court Reserve YouTube channel for you guys to watch later, as well as if you have questions. I can't imagine anyone would have questions, but if you do, put them in the Q&A, because that allows us to kind of answer your questions, and we'll do those as we go through. So Oswin, let's go.
All right, so we're going to go over a couple of things regarding the Swish integration. First, it's only available right now on our tiered pricing plans. If you're on our tiered pricing plans for the Start and Grow, the Swish integration is about $25 as an add-on, and if you have the Scale and Enterprise plan, it is included. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to head over down to your settings page, down to your additional features, click on that, and then towards the bottom here, you're going to see the Swish integration. Once you've clicked this box, you can hit Setup, or you can head alternatively to the page down at the bottom here and see the Swish icon that's now appeared. Either way will get you there. Once you're in there and you've gone through the Swish setup process, you'll have an API key and you'll have a location based on where you are geographically. If you have any issues with the location ID, you're going to be able to email with the Swish support staff and they'll be able to get you all set up and fixed there. That's pretty much all you need to do on the Court Reserve side to get the Swish integration set up. Once done, you're going to be able to head to any of your events. And as long as there's one or more registrant on the event, you're going to see a new button when you're looking at any individual date. Whether this is a full event registration or a drop-in event registration, you're going to be able to do this. So we can see here I've clicked on one and I have some registrants here and I have no registrants here. So we're going to go to the May 28th one that actually has some registrants, and you'll see a Sync to Swish button is now available. Previously, you won't have that. If you have no registrants on it, you won't see it. So if you've done this once before with a particular event date, you're going to have an additional option here with action type and a Swish game ID. If you've never done it before, you'll simply see no action type and game format only. When you have the game format only, you'll have a drop-down list where you can select from various options that we sync from Court Reserve over to Swish. Now, for short descriptions on each of these, you can still view these, not on the Court Reserve side, but on the Swish side. You can simply click Create Game on the Swish side, and you can see the standard game or league game formats. And when you click on these, it'll give you a brief description of those particular items. So we're going to actually just sync a new one here so you can see what it looks like. We're going to sync a regular one, and we're going to sync a league one, and then we'll get into a little bit of what it looks like once it syncs. So we're going to do a regular rotating partner round robin to start. All we have to do is hit this button. And then a couple of seconds later, it populates over here on the right-hand side, rotating partner round robin, and you can click into this. Now, from here is pretty much all Swish's domain, but you can have people join via either the QR code, via text. You can invite people. And as the owner, if I'm part of this particular league, I can click join game, select on my name, and I'm good to go, and I'm right in there. And also add it to my calendar. So that's what a regular one looks like. If we head back, or before we head back, actually, we can take a look. You can edit some options into the game, like turning on the DUPR section of it, which a lot of folks will want to do. It's note everybody must have their accounts linked. They need to be joined appropriately in order for it to actually sync to DUPR. And let's go ahead and show what syncing a league looks like. So you'll see something like this, upcoming leagues, and it'll break it down a little bit differently than the individual game date. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this one, and I'm just going to resync the same exact one, but as a league instead. So if we do a league rotating partner round robin and we sync this over, it's going to populate over here. And we can see the name is the exact same here. We click on the details. And then you'll notice we have like a duplicate last game and a new event section here. From here, you get all of your players' names listed. You're going to be able to duplicate the last game and copy all of those sets and continue out for each of your event dates and get all that set up in just a few minutes. and keeping all of the names that you have synced over, saving you lots of time. And let's see here. I think that's about it that we wanted to show here.
Yeah, now, Oswin, I do want to mention that people can see both Court Reserve and the Swish, but you basically have this in two separate, like you're not going to see
Yes.
a Swish on the Court Reserve page here. This is two separate windows that you have put together specifically for our demo today, correct?
Yes, to clarify, this is my cell phone. If I click back on the little button, you can see my little Facebook notifications. This is just me casting it to the screen. So we've got our web page up. You'll have your phone on hand, and you'll be able to go through that process.
All right, great. That's great. So currently in Court Reserve Oswin, folks can go in and they can set up to have a partner. Can you talk just a little bit about that, how they have to do that currently and then what's coming?
Yes, okay. So as far as setting up as a partner goes, one of the ways that you want to do it in order to sync to Swish as well, even if you were not syncing to Swish, you have to build a custom field inside of Court Reserve. To do this, we can head into the actual event itself. And if you've already set up a custom field, way down behind the general info, there's going to be a event registrants custom field in which you can select from any various custom fields that you may have created. Mixed partner entry, gendered partner entry are good examples. Once we have saved something like this, and I'll show how to make one of those in just a moment, you can head over to the dates and look at the registrants tab. If you require this, members will have to select and fill out a text box field with their partner's name on that. Now you can technically register a couple different ways. You can have both people register where you have the other person list the partner. You can do a pending approval where once both people have registered and they've listed each other, you can approve both of them. Or you can just say, hey, one person register, list your partner. It's on you guys to show up and make sure that your partner's there, or your team captain essentially. And it'll display in this particular custom field. You can click on it if you were to do admin side registration, and you can simply add the person. So if I wanted to add my partner right in here, I could save changes and we can hover over that person's, we can just hover over it. We don't have to click on it. And we get Kiwi Kanarski there listed right in. As far as, actually, before we go there, how you make the custom field. So under your settings sections, you'll have custom fields. As soon as you click on one of these, you're going to have a few different categories. Now, the thing to remember is it's the event registrant category and not an event field. So you'll want to make sure when you create the category, it says event registrant. That'll enable you when people are signing up or registering to have that additional box. You can force this to be required, so somebody has to enter something. And you can show it on the member side. You can keep it admin facing only, either or. We recommend on the member side for at least partner registration. So you'll have three field types. Text box is all you need. Text area is a little excessive, but you can technically do it. If you wanted to have everybody list like an MILP format, you could list 4 people out there with a text area and it looks a little cleaner than a text box. Drop down's not going to work for that particular one. As far as what we have coming, we're going to go ahead and show a brief look at what it'll look like here.
Drum
When you go
roll.
into the, yep, something everybody's been waiting for and something that we're testing on. It's pretty close. Drum roll on the loading is registering as a team. So having this wonderful button in here to go in, you're going to be able to click. Let's actually go ahead and create a new event real quick so we can see briefly what that looks like.
Now, I've heard
You
this
click-
is coming out in the July release. So if all of you can just, get real excited, we got a countdown going on.
So once we have the register team button turned on, we have the max teams and the max registrants per team. So you can adjust this accordingly. And then how registration will work a little bit from there. The registration window is going to look a little bit different, but we'll go ahead and get something written real quick. I'm not going to fill out as much as possible. The date would be important though. All right, let's see. So now that we have something like this, when we go to register, we're registering teams now. So we can go ahead and put in Oswin, and we'll go ahead and do Kiwi here. and we can see my team player maximum has been met. And so this is just the admin side. Of course, it's not the player side. Players will receive a similar thing when they register. They can register as a team. And so that goes through, and you'll see we have teams here listed and team one. So like we can continue to register team one, team two, team three, etc., depending on our events setup and how many teams we're allowing and how many players per team. If we don't have somebody, or if we need to change somebody real quick, let's say I send a cancellation to one person here, I can still add a partner in here right after that with a quick little UI button, choosing the next person and registering them to that team.
Now, again, that is not out yet, folks. That is not ready yet. You will not see that in your Court Reserve account yet. So that is coming in July. But right now, in order to do team-based, you would still need to do the custom field like Oswin showed us earlier. So that is fantastic. So thank you, Oswin.
Absolutely.
So Mark, anything we missed before we answer this multitude of questions?
Great question. Well, first, I would just jump in and say that team-based registration is going to be incredible. And not only from the Swish side of things, we offer a lot of team-based formats. And so when that goes live in Court Reserve, Swish is going to be one of the big beneficiaries of that because that's going to sync up really well. So props to your guys' team. I believe you guys are really pioneering all of the software system and having team-based registration. Very exciting. And then, Ashley, I would just say to finish on Swish's side of things, it's very simple. We'll answer a lot of questions, but I just reference people to our website, swishsportsapp.com. Our pricing tiers are all publicly displayed on our website, our support line, so you can reach out if you have questions or if you want to get started or see the pricing. That's all available on our website as well. So anyone can rewatch this video recording or go right there for more info.
All right. So I think there's a big question. What about DUPR, Mark? I feel like the ease of how this is going to flow into DUPR. Talk a little bit about what that looks like right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw some questions on that as well. So there's a lot of really cool functionality in this Court Reserve and Swish API as it pertains to DUPR. So I'll probably hit 3 or 4 different questions in one answer here that I saw. So first question, they had a good question. They said, when I sync from Court Reserve to Swish, I don't always see if it's a DUPR or non-DUPR game in Swish. So the answer to that is it doesn't matter if you sync it as a DUPR or non-DUPR game, because we just launched 2 or 3 weeks ago a feature where in Swish, you can edit the game or the whole league from DUPR to non-DUPR seamlessly. So don't worry if you feel like you didn't sync it right. You can just go right into Swish and turn a non-DUPR game into a DUPR game or vice versa. So there's great flexibility there. The next thing is a lot of people on this webinar have probably typed in 6-digit DUPR IDs a couple, or maybe not a couple, maybe a lot of times when setting up DUPR rated games. That's not always the easiest thing because it's like WXQ59, whatever it is. So the way this API works is if players have their DUPR account linked to Court Reserve, which is an integration I know that's available, say you have a 16-person DUPR rated round robin. 16 people sign up and pay on Court Reserve. Their DUPR is all linked to their Court Reserve account. When you click that sync with Swish that Oswin was showing, it will send over the names and the DUPR IDs of those players, which is really nice. So you open up Swish and you've got all 16 players entered and their DUPR IDs. That's a huge time saver. If somebody didn't have, for whatever reason, their Court Reserve and DUPR linked up, it'll highlight them in Swish's orange saying, hey, spot check this one person. And then you could go and fill in the gap right in Swish, which is also nice. So that's great. And then the last piece of functionality that I would mention is a lot of clubs who have used Swish are used to having their players scan a QR code to check in, if you will, when joining an event. So if I walk into a club and I'm one of those 16 people playing in a round robin, I'd scan the QR code and I'd claim my spot and now I'm good to go. Well, now we can use DUPR IDs as a unique identifier. So when your club manager hits sync with Swish, if you have your DUPR linked to Court Reserve and Swish, it puts your profile right into the game. You don't even need to scan that QR code. You could walk into the club, open up Swish, and you're already in the game, ready to view your court assignment and go play. So lots of exciting things on that end.
Very good. Okay, so let's just go through here. I'm just going to read the question out loud and then we'll figure out who's going to answer it. How's that? Let's see. We would love to have external sign-on capabilities from CourtReserve. It would make our member experience much smoother. I'll add it to the idea board right now. That's awesome. All right. Is there a way for admins to operate Swish from a desktop?
Great question. So we just started releasing the first of many desktop features on Swish. So something that if you're already a Swish client, you probably saw last month, our club portal. This is kind of what we're calling our desktop side of things. So we just launched the club portal. That has right now limited desktop features, but you can manage all of your club info. You can use all of our team member and group functionality there. So adding employees, adding groups, you can manage your billing. We also have on the desktop what we call our Swish Academy, which is fun. That's our new database of over 40 tutorial videos. There's a section for leagues, a section for round robins. There's even a section for comedy. So if you want some pickleball or racket sport comedy, we put that in our tutorial videos. I'm actually curious who's clicked on that. But anyhow, that's the initial desktop functionality. More will be coming. So I will not promise right now that it's like a desktop version of all of the court assignments and brackets. Right now, it's more of a limited kind of appetizer for desktop functionality. The other thing that I'd say too, and this is just a big thanks as well to CourtReserve, is most of what you would want to do on a desktop at this point is done directly in CourtReserve. Setting up an event, selecting your time, all of the logistics, pricing, details, reports, CourtReserve nails that. And you would do that all from a desktop. Once you click sync to Swish, it's almost better just to do it right from a mobile device. We always say no one brings their laptop to the pickleball court, but everyone brings their phone. So it's kind of nice with that sync with Swish. You don't even need to worry about typing in or setting up games from the mobile end because CourtReserve does it for you, and it syncs right to Swish. So
Awesome.
there's the long-winded answer.
That's great. There's a couple questions that look like there may be support questions about how when people are going to go do certain things and then, you know, something's not working the way they want. I would encourage you, reach out to support@courtreserve.com. Tell us what your issue is, and then we can help you figure out if it's a CourtReserve or what that functionality is. And I'm sure we can get in touch with Mark's team as well to help you guys as well. Don't want to go down the rabbit hole today of fixing support issues. Let's see. If payment is done by CourtReserve, can I still access Swish on the website application? Right now, it has to have a Stripe account. I would have Lance probably reach out to your guys, Mark. Is that correct? Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Let's see. Can you show us in settings where this is? I'm assuming, Jason, that Oswin, if you want to just quickly show, I guess.
Yeah, I'll pull it right back up.
Yep. Make sure
If I can find my share button. There it is. Okay, so where it's located in the settings section for the Swish integration is all the way down at the bottom here with additional features. You have to turn it on initially. Once it's turned on, it'll appear in order. So right here, it's a little S symbol with both the arrows. You can click on that, and that'll be your Swish integration setup with the API key and location.
Yep. But you do need to have a Swish account as well as a CourtReserve account. And there was a question, depending on pricing, what tiered bucket you are in CourtReserve depends on whether you pay the $25 a month for it at CourtReserve or whether it's included. And if you're on CourtReserve legacy pricing, you do need to be on one of those new tiered plans in order to turn on Swish. And then Mark's pricing page, I have put the link out in the everyone chat, swishsportsapp.com. Their pricing is there. And then if you have more questions about pricing, then you can go directly to Swish for that as well. All right, let's keep going. If you have a Swish account, do you need to create a new one? I would say probably not, correct, Mark?
You do not. We can just essentially give admin status if you want to sign up for your club. Yeah, so it's simple transition.
Okay. Vicky said, is there a limit of how many events you can have going? No, there's not a limit of events. Correct, Mark?
That's also correct on the Swish side of things, unlimited.
Okay. Let's see. How compatible is Swish and CourtReserve with gym classes like yoga, Pilates, bar, and the levels of each? Well, I'm not sure that that really is going to do the same thing. I mean, Court Reserve, we're going to handle all the registration for those fitness classes with levels. But as far as like competition, unless yoga and Pilates is now a competition, Mark, do you have anything for that?
Uh, Not that I'm familiar with, but maybe I should learn a little bit more about that world. And no, that
Right.
think of Swish as anything where you would want any type of recording a score or having matchups. You don't even have to record scores. Sometimes people just like the algorithm generator. They do it friendly mode. So anything that has matchups, some sort of scoring, a leaderboard or a skill level, that's for any sport. That's where we shine.
All right. So this is not just for pickleball, Swish for tennis. Can it flow into something similar to DUPR? So do you have any ratings specifically within Swish for tennis?
Yeah, great question. So we have tennis ratings coming probably around fall. So it's already in the works. Coming this summer will be WPR, formerly Red Paddle. So for any of the paddle clubs out there, that's exciting. That one's going to be done pretty soon, and then tennis integrations will come as well. And I guess this is probably a good time to touch on a few other tennis features as well, because we do get a lot of tennis questions. Um, One of the features that we released beginning of the year is team leagues, and when I say team, this is different than just doubles, like doubles partners. A lot of tennis clubs love to do teams where you have lines of doubles players. I know this is USTA does some similar things, right? This is just very popular in tennis where you could have a four doubles line team league and you even play against other clubs. They're really fun. You have rosters, so you might have a roster of 16, ladies in a doubles league. That's one of the new features that we have on Swish. We call it our custom team format. So if you're on the tennis side of things, I just want to highlight that for you right now. These team leagues are very popular. Pickleball has started to kind of follow tennis with MLP and now some other things, but tennis has nailed this for a while. Team leagues being very fun, where you have your, top doubles line and second and third, and you compete against other clubs or other teams within your club. So anyways, again, that's reach out to our team for more details, but we want to make sure the other racket sports are aware of features we've been releasing for those functions.
Absolutely. Okay. So we had somebody ask, will the sync to Swish button be added to the Court Reserve app? And I just asked him and he said, yes, that's a great idea. We will get that added to the admin app. So in Court Reserve on the app, that'll be great. That's great functionality. So great idea. Thank you. I can't remember where that lives, but it's somewhere here. All right, let's see. Let's see. Yes, you have to subscribe to Swish and Court Reserve for it to work. You also have to have DUPR turned on in Court Reserve if you want the DUPR IDs to flow through Swish and then to flow through to DUPR. Correct, Mark?
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Does the $25 a month give you unlimited integration with Swish? If you're paying the $25 in Court Reserve, yes. Or if you turn on the Swish in Court Reserve, then it's giving you that unlimited integration with Swish. Yes. All right. Let's see. With the last quarterly update, Court Reserve announced a round robin feature in development. Yep, we're all still working on that. But of course, Swish has round robins as well. That's why we're talking about this today. Do you have a player view yet? If not, when? How can players sync their CR in Swish? So players don't have to do anything, correct, Mark?
Yeah, that's correct. It's the same as they're doing it now. You just have two apps. I love the put it on the idea board of a single sign-on type thing, but it works. It works seamlessly without. So you just have your Court Reserve where you sign up for events, and then you open up Swish when you get to the club, right? You pull up Swish, and it'll have your court assignments. Easy enough.
Let's see. This is, we spoke to someone at Swish recently. They mentioned something about the pricing being linked to participation with Swish tournaments. Anything about that connection, Mark, you want to talk about?
Sure. Yeah, and to keep it brief, on our pricing on our website, for which Ashley put the link in the chat, you'll see that on, for example, Pro Club pricing, there's a 125, there's an 85. So if you're wondering what is the difference between two Pro Club pricing options, that's where swishtournaments.com comes into play. And we actually have a video right underneath our pricing tier where you can click on it and see which, 125 or 85 is the best fit for your club. So I'd encourage you to go and watch that. But that's a great question. If you see two different pro club options, swishtournaments.com comes into play.
All right. So here's a great question. So I'm in Court Reserve. I've already synced to Swish. I go into Court Reserve and I change the event, or I change some players around. Do I need to click sync to Swish again? How does that work for us, Oswin?
Yes, if you change over on the Court Reserve side, if you modify your event registrants, you're going to be able to hit the sync button and update the existing game field. Now, if you wanted to change the event and just sync over again, you can click the create new game and choose a different format if that was your goal. But otherwise, you can just update your registrants, sync again, and it will update the existing one with the names that have changed from Court Reserve.
So easy. Love that. Let's see. Yes, if you want DUPR to work, so you would need to have DUPR in Court Reserve and Swish. Let's see. Swish automatically will send DUPR results to DUPR after it's completed, right? Let's see. If you want to learn, I know Court Reserve, we have a knowledge base that has an article about the integration that we have with Swish, and Mark just talked about what his team has put out as far as like the academy and some training videos and things. So depending on what you're wanting to learn, we can definitely help you. Just reach out to our support team and we can get you that information as well. Let's see. It is a one-time sync from Court Reserve to Swish. Unless you make changes. Does Swish or Court Reserve sync with pickleball brackets? Mark, you want to take that one?
Sure. We don't sync with them at the moment. You can manually input stuff if you want into Swish from other registration sites, but there's no link at the moment.
And none in Court Reserve either. We are partnering with Swish. So, all right. Is there a way to have tournament as a game format when trying to sync from CR to sync? I can only do round robins and leagues. So currently that's what we're doing. Our integration is round robins and leagues right now. Yes. All right. Let's see. When syncing from Court Reserve to Swish, do the partners' names from the custom field also have their DUPR link synced to Swish? I don't think that's how it works right now. Is it, Mark?
Let's see.
Or Oswin? That's a great question.
I don't believe so. Is this?
Yep.
Yeah. So with set partners, right now in Swish, just to kind of give a practical example, because some people have tried this. So right now, if you sync a partner event, it'll actually give you twice as many teams as you need. So in Swish, you can go and edit them. So it'll get you halfway there, but then you have to go in and add the partners into Swish. I believe that'll even be changing with the partner registration coming out in Court Reserve. So in the meantime on Swish, you still have to do a little manual work, which is what it is. And then it's going to be all smoothed over here with
in a
Court
couple
Reserves.
weeks. Yeah. So in a couple weeks, once we have team-based registration, then you will be able to easily sync both players and both their DUPRs over to. Right now, I think Oswin's kind of taking us through what that looks like.
Yeah, right now, if you do the partner registration here, when you click on this, right, you'll get each person on the registrant list and then their partner listed. When we talked about custom fields a little bit earlier, where one person registers for their team and then they list their partner, that's probably the best way to go at the moment to save yourself the most amount of manual work. So that way you have just one person registering for their team with their little custom field written. And then over on this list will populate just their name and it won't populate that custom field. So you're going to be able to quickly go ahead and allow people to join. So the team member joins, right? They select their name. The other people come in or the partner comes in and scans, or they're invited via the other options in Swish. They can select the partner name, or you can of course go ahead and edit the partner and put in their name directly from the custom field.
Awesome. Very good. There's a lot of questions about things we've already answered. Like, yes, you have to have a Swish account first, and then you have to have CR. If you want DUPR to flow through, you do have to have a DUPR account and then turn on DUPR. You can run ping pong leagues, right, Mark?
Yes, you can.
That's awesome. You will have to reach out to Swish to get your API keys before you can put that into Court Reserve. That's true. Triple team. Mark, does this work for triple teams yet?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I could think of two things triple team refers to. One is there's a 3-person team, like 3v3, and that is one of the supported formats in Swish, which is really fun. And then sometimes that refers to as well having 3 doubles lines, right? Like maybe 3 guys and 3 girls, and it's mixed, or it's an all-male league and you have 3 doubles lines. That also works. So you could do 6-player rosters and even have people like on the bench as subs that you pull in. So both of those work.
Awesome. And there is, let's see, the WTN integration is coming in Court Reserve. Yes, we're still working on that. Are you guys working with WTN or UTR, Mark, as far as tennis leagues?
It'll be after our paddle integration. So you guys will probably beat us to it, but that's coming as well shortly.
Awesome. Again, if you're on Court Reserve legacy pricing, you do need to be in in the new pricing tiers that Court Reserve has. If you'll reach out to our support team, then they can have somebody reach out to you and kind of explain how that works and what to do, because you can't use Swish if you're on old legacy pricing in Court Reserve. Let me see. Let's see. Wow. So, okay. Lots of double questions. All right. Let's see. Subs.
Actually, I think one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll go to the subs question, but one thing that we've been asked a lot as well, which should be good to address, is what if someone doesn't have the Swish app or doesn't have their phone on them or anything like that, which is a great question. So in Swish, it's okay if a couple of people haven't downloaded the app. We call this adding like a placeholder name. So when you sync the data from Court Reserve to Swish, let's say there's 20 people in a ladder league. If 15 of them have the Swish app downloaded and they follow along and put in their scores, wonderful. And if 5 of them, for whatever reason, they don't own a smartphone or they left it at home or whatever, it's okay. Their name and their DUPR ID can still be entered into the game. You can still send the scores to DUPR. They would just look off of a friend's phone or the club administrator or something. So that still works perfectly if you don't get every one of the players to download Swish. It still works great.
There's a question here. It looks like Swish also has a couple different plans. Any of those plans will work with Court Reserve, or which plan do they need to choose for Swish, Mark?
Great. It's the Pro Club plan.
Okay. So the Pro Club plan. All right. And let's see. So there's a question. You said no limit to number of leagues in Swish. Is there a limit to number of players per event? Well, you would set that up in Court Reserve and you could put a max registrant at the league level. And that way only that number of players could sign up through Court Reserve. And then you would push that over to Swish as well. So, wow. So last question, because wow, we have over 50 some questions. Is Swish compatible with Android phones, Mark?
Yes, it's built on Apple and Android.
All right, very good. And oh, this is another good question. Where do you find that API in your Swish account? Can they find their API, or do they need to reach out to your team, Mark?
They can find it. That's a good question. So when you set up a club account with Swish, we'll give you what I mentioned is the club portal. That's kind of our initial desktop features. Right on your profile, there's an API key. So you can copy and paste that right into Court Reserve.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I know we've gone over a ton of information. This will be up on the Court Reserve YouTube channel, and I'll know we're going to send it over to Mark and his team as well. If you have additional questions about how this works or anything we can do, please reach out to the Court Reserve support team, or I know the Swish support team. We'd love to help you. Hope you guys have a great summer. We'll see you soon. Take care.